Alrighty. There we are, and there, look, I'm even unmuted this time. There we go. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? Let me get everything all set in order here so I can see. There we go. All right. How are we doing? Let me think what we've got to go over this week. Well, we've got What If to talk about. I think I might have a bit of a hot take on that one that might go against what other people are thinking about it. And we've got all of our books for this week to go over. Oh, we can't see it because of my new background I'm doing. There we go. There's a bunch of those to go over. Lots of indies. Lots of indies this week. There's just lots of new stuff that we're going to take a look at. And once we bring Nat over, we're actually going to talk about a nice little announcement too. But yeah, that aside, I want to talk last week. We had mentioned 204 Comics was doing a new pull list system through League of Geeks, League of Nerds. I think it's League of Geeks. And like I said, that was one I'd used before, so I was pretty familiar with it. And I wanted to see if I could catch Ashley off guard, see how quick he was. And I added a couple things just the day before to see if he would notice. And yeah, sure enough, he got that. So that system works really good. He's pretty good on it. So thank you, Ashley, for that one. And maybe don't everyone try adding stuff last minute because he won't thank me for that. um, yeah, and that's about all we've got to go over for right now. I think let's just jump on right into the show.
Excuse me. God, look up there.
The hell's that?
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me. Who's got you? I can't believe it. I just cannot believe it. He got her.
Gentlemen, man needs help. Well, I certainly hope this little incident hasn't put you off flying, miss. Statistically speaking, of course, it's still the safest way to travel.
Right.
Bye.
There we are. Supernet, please stay for a little bit. We've got some questions for you.
Yes, it is I, Nadel.
Alrighty. That was the one we wanted to use the last week or week before with Superman, and I loved it so much that I didn't want to hold on to it for too long. So that one's there.
And in case anybody is wondering, when we put this on YouTube, yes, we get flagged every week.
Very close, very close. That's why I try to use some of those old ones, like that Aquaman one we had there. I didn't get flagged for that one, but I mean, I don't even think anyone knows who owns that anymore.
Right.
Well, I think what we will do first off, let me clean up my page here. Perfect. So, a couple weeks ago, we had talked about Chicken Devil. how we were working on a cover for that with Big Country Comics, and we had shown everyone this cover here, and this is just cover A for it. What we want to show now is actually the cover. So it's a big reveal, our cover by Hugh Rookwood. There it is. Chicken Devil by Hugh Rookwood. This one's kind of like our baby, because we were working on this one way before Swamp Dogs.
Yeah.
So to see this one finally done, able to share it with everyone, is huge for us. I love this cover.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to get this either blown up or just turned into a picture to hang up at our place. It's amazing. Awesome job, Hugh.
Yeah, let me throw up even just a side by side of the two of them, because cover A for this is good, is a really good cover as it is, but like look at the two of those beside each other. I mean I can't remain impartial, obviously, but look at that. Hugh did such a good job on that, like outstanding work.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm so proud of this book, and I got a bit of a challenge for everybody that's out there. This book, in let's say it goes on, I think it's about 7 minutes from now, you'll be able to start claiming posts for it on our Facebook page, and eventually on the website as well too. So if anybody wants to see what I look like dressed as a chicken, so I will dress up as a chicken next week, but there's got to be 10 people claiming books between now and Friday night at 10 o'clock our time, which is Central. So and double, if there's 10 books done tonight before the end of the show, I'll dress up like a chicken and do the chicken dance. So there's a bit of a challenge out there. That's my challenge to you guys out there. But yeah, Tyler, go over the information, and we want to thank Justin over at Big Country, because like I said, with our Swamp Dog book, we collaborated together on that, and this one we started before, and just the way my big mouth works, unfortunately, we ended up doing the Swamp Dog one first. So
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, I know. It's my fault. I owned it. So shout out to Justin at Big Country, and these books will both actually start being in our possession and sold at the beginning of October, and right when Winnipeg Comic Con's on. So Justin and the crew will be there. So everybody.
Just before.
Well, just before. Well, they'll definitely be on sale there too. So everybody, if you want to see me dance the chicken and dress up like a chicken, start claiming. And if not, just buy it anyways. So, okay, Ty, go over the info.
Yeah, so that's Chicken Devil. And I don't know if anyone remembers back, probably one of our earlier shows, we had Ice Cream Man. I'm trying to find out my image for that one, and I can't pull it up. But if you hold that one up and just hold it close to your body, it shouldn't go invisible. Yeah. There it is. We have those in now. Those just came in. And Stephen Bembeck, I believe you were the winner. And we've got your copy ready to go.
This is it.
So we'll reach out to you after the show, and we'll figure something out. We'll have it ready for you.
All three of the books are 25 each. Is that what it is, Tyler? Or is it 20, and 25, or?
Chicken Devil is 25.
Yeah. Scream Man is 25 or 20? I believe it's 20.
Ice Cream Man, I don't remember. That one I listed so long ago.
Yeah.
But Chicken Devil is 25. If you want a CBSC blue label, here, let me pull up my page for that one too. There we go. CBCS blue label is going to be $60, and that's just your standard grading. And yellow label, which is graded and signed, will be $70. Mm-hmm. So once that post goes up in a few minutes, you'll have a chance to claim that cover and claim which one you want.
And because we made these with the Big Country comics, these are limited covers. So it's not like you
Mhm.
walk into a store and there's like 500 of them floating around and that. There is only 250 of these. So
I believe 250 of these, and same with the Swamp Dogs, 250 of
we
those.
split those each. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Both books, I've managed to read both books, and they're going to be amazing books. Whether I was promoting them for ourselves or not, we would have these books on our show, and we would be saying these are kick-ass books. So I'm not being biased.
No, totally objectively, Chicken Devil, Chicken Devil especially, has a lot of heat and hype behind it already.
Yeah,
So that's going to be a tough book to find a couple months after release for
for
sure.
sure.
And the exclusives are going to be even fewer between.
And again, since we are kind of no tooting our own horn here this evening, and that one thing I will say is that the exclusives that we have sold in the past from Justin at Big Country, all those books now are being optioned, and all those books are getting hot, and people are trying to find those books like um,
Noctura?
Noctura, Kaijira Score. What was the other one? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, there was the third one. I can't remember now. There was a third one, but I can't remember now. Oh, Something is Killing the Children. Like House of Slaughter. All
House of
those are
Slaughter,
all
yeah.
optioned to be coming out. So I mean, we pick good books. All right,
I like to think so.
let's get on with the real show now.
Alrighty, yeah. No more stroking our egos. Here we go. It's the Merc with a Mouth, Deadpool, Black, White, and Blood. And it's funny. I didn't look ahead too much when we were talking about a Punisher book that's as Ashley put it, blood, blood, and blood.
Right?
Um, and I kind of expected out of Deadpool to be a little bit more gory, and given that it's black, white, and blood. And I mean, I don't know. I don't like Deadpool a whole lot as a character, whether it's Ryan Reynolds playing him or whoever. But I did enjoy this book. It's got a few different stories in it. I always like this style where it's black and white with some other color as an accent. For me, the first story really has the best art throughout the whole book. It almost reminds me of like an old newspaper strip that someone's just taken a red layer over top of. It, I loved it. It kind of sucks that they put such a good story and such a good artwork at the beginning, because all the books beyond that kind of felt, or all the
Story.
stories beyond that kind of felt not as great. But hell of a way to open up a book with a nice little Daredevil team up.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. I managed to flip through some of it. I was reading that one on online because I forgot to pick it up, and I kept getting crashing and stuff like that. But yeah, it was all right. I'm not a huge Deadpool fan. I don't mind the movies and that, but yeah, it was okay. Like I said, like you, I enjoyed these anthologies with the color schemes and stuff. So yeah, this one followed suit. It was pretty good, but nothing that I'm gonna remember in a week or two. So
Mm-hmm.
there was much more to enjoy.
Yeah, lots of stuff this week. Another one that sort of caught me by surprise was Return. It's not called the Return of Kazaar, but it is the Return of Kazaar. Uh, yeah, Kazaar, Lord of the Savage Lands, and I don't necessarily know a whole lot about Kazaar in general, so I felt a little bit lost reading this. Now, I don't know if it's just my ignorance to it, or if Kazaar just hasn't been a huge character in the last 26 years since I've been born. But it was an enjoyable book. It's sort of going with that trend. Everyone's doing barbarians, everyone's doing Savage Land kind of stories again. And why not bring back one of the most classic people that represent that genre?
Yeah, and that's what seems to be hot right now in all aspects of comics is like the older pulp type of comics, the jungle heroes and the horror and the westerns and stuff. And Kazar hasn't been a big character at all for the last, like I said, 25 or 30 years. And with this book today, they actually did have a Marvel Tales Kazar out there as well too. Had a few stories that kind of, just to give a background in that, because most people don't really know Kazar besides like, oh, he's that jungle guy, and that's all he really was, and he was just a guy that lived in a dinosaur heavy jungle type. area. So, but what's different about this new series is they're kind of updating him and rebooting him. Now he died and he's come back, and now he has like he's in touch with the land itself, and he can like control.
His loincloth is alive.
Yeah, like parts of his costume are biotech, and he can not necessarily control animals, but almost like Vixen does in the or Animal Man does. He like channels the animals, and then Sheena has died and come back too, and now she is like Swamp Thing, and she can manipulate flora and fauna and stuff, and then they have a teenage son. So again, they're tapping into that whole like John Kent young Superboy thing, and they still got the big giant saber-tooth tiger. So, and yeah, so it seems like it's going to be, like I said, jumping into that whole Jungle Man thing, but more with the more mystic part to it, like more Swamp Thing, Animal Man stuff. So yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. It was great art. You got Zach Thompson doing the writing and Jermaine Garcia doing the art, and yeah, he's always been like a C-list character, and it looks like they're trying to reboot him for the. I know definitely they want to start bringing him into MCU stuff and Disney stuff, and same with Sheena. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Savage Land is going to be a big part of Marvel stuff going forward. Because X-Men have always been hugely tied to Savage Land, and that's one of the areas that they haven't really gone in the MCU yet. They've done Wakanda, you know.
Yep.
And they've done even a lot of stuff out in space, like Nowhere. The Savage Land is a huge, iconic Marvel place, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that came up in the very near future.
I think they've been saving it for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And next up, our last book by Marvel this week, is Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters #4. Now, I've been a little bit hard on these the last couple weeks that we've done a Star Wars book, and it's because I was getting sort of tired of what they were doing with it. But now, I guess their whole auction's over. I didn't think that they were going to walk away so quickly after where they had left things, but
that was a little weird.
Darth Vader is now the owner of Han Solo in statue form.
Carbonite.
Yeah, Carbonite. So it's nice to see things finally moving along again, and it's not just people, having a bidding war or people just getting angry. No, I'm taking him. No, I'm taking him. So it's nice to see the story moving somewhere again finally. But that's pretty much all this does is, okay, well, Darth Vader has Han Solo, and Jabba the Hutt, he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, take him. I'm not going to fight you on it. But everyone else is still after either Solo or after the bounty on Boba Fett. And this is what I thought more of the story was going to be, was exactly that. So I'm glad the story, I mean, it's on its penultimate issue, but I'm glad it's moving again finally.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. And they also have the whole Vader going after Luke aspect too. Where he doesn't even care that he's kind of losing face to the group there and just walking out with Han Solo because he's just so obsessed with getting Luke and that. So yeah, Luke draws him away using those Jedi mind powers there and communicating and that. So I thought it was kind of silly. You got Luke Skywalker flying around out in the space on a TIE wing or whatever he's playing, a crosswing fighter, and then he's just like, hey, Vader, come get me. And he actually leaves to go do it, but whatever, that's basically what it was all about. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I mean, the whole, I just want more. I just want a whole issue of just like bounty hunters going after each other, wiping it out and that. So I hope and that's where it goes to.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
The biggest reveal to come across my desk this week is War of the Bounty Hunters is actually the first part of a trilogy. I don't know if that was always the plan, or maybe I'm just totally blind to that, but it's all actually a part of a trilogy, and the next part of it starts in November, just after the final issue of War of the Bounty Hunters. It's called Crimson Reign. It's just going to be a continuation of what I guess the Crimson Dawn are up to after that. Because even Jabba the Hutt says in this, the Crimson Dawn's back. To hell with Vader. Let him have Han Solo,
Yeah.
the Crimson Dawn are going to be a lot bigger issue to us than Darth Vader and the Empire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So interesting that it's actually a trilogy they're building.
Well, and yeah, and isn't it in December when the Boba Fett new TV show starts up as well, or the Mandalorian?
It's supposed to be
Oh,
that Book of Boba Fett.
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
So cut ties into that too. I'll take it right through to the fall or to December. So
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Next up is our one and only DC book this week, and I don't think we chose the right one to go over this week. I wasn't a fan of this one. It's Black Manta #1, part of a new 6-issue limited series.
Book of the week.
Wow.
The weakest of the books. Our book.
Yeah.
That's what we refer to as.
Book for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about Aquaman or his extended lore or any of his extended anything beyond him just being Aquaman. Because most of the times in media, he shows up and it's him with other people, but it's other Justice League people, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if the people they're showing in this are people that we're supposed to know or if they are all brand new. But I really could not get into this, and I pushed and pushed and pushed, waiting for some payoff at the end of it, and I was just lost the entire time. And the art was awful to boot. I I like the way they're drawing Black Manta, but the rest of it just thick, harsh lines. I don't think DC really put a whole lot of work into this book at all.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed too, and I never want to say someone does bad art because I don't know if there's such thing as bad art. I think there's just different people like different art. That's what makes it art. But you got Valentin de Landro doing the art, and yeah, I didn't care for it either. On a book of this scale, especially being #1 and Black Manta being never really having a solo series and stuff like that, and last week having the big 80th Aquaman thing. I think a lot of people were looking forward to maybe checking this book up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, disappointing. Art was kind of, like you said, chunky and thick and felt rushed. And yeah, I didn't understand the stories either. It was one story and I didn't get it. And I know some of the mythos and the background and stuff, but I couldn't follow it. I was really disappointed too, and yeah, that's why it's my weakest pick. So I don't know if I'll even look at issue 2. So
Yeah, I might take a quick flip and see, but for me, this one's a big miss.
yeah,
But it's nice to rebound from something so unlikable to what I think is one of my favorite books of the week, and it always is when it's on here, and that's Nice House on the Lake.
mm-hmm.
This DC, when they put their work into it, it shows. And I think personally, this has probably been the best issue of Nice House to date. I think so much important stuff happened in this one, and they're finally all settled into the whole we're in a house, the world's ended, and they're actually starting to realize why they're there and what's going on. So for me, good issue, and I always like the art here. So good job, Tinian, for doing another good book.
Yeah, the art's great. You got Alvaro Martinez Bueno doing the art, and I really like his art here. The first 3 issues were great, but for some reason, the art in this issue it just seemed to jump an extra level. I don't know if he just hit his stride or.
It's not as much on the page. It's less cluttered.
Yeah, it's really nice and great paint or color too. Yeah, and James Tinian the fourth writing. I'm stuttering here because he makes me get so tongue tied. He's amazing. Like I seriously think he's like this generation's reincarnation of like Rod Serling. Like this guy just writes the most amazing stuff, and it's different all the time. It's not always the same genre or the same theme or anything. It's just amazing. This guy can write anything, and yeah, I love this. I like it how it's like you said, everything's being described and stuff like that, and then you get a really wicked twist at the end that I don't think anybody saw coming. And it just, again, then it totally makes you think, well, now what kind of book am I reading again? Like it makes you think, well, now I've totally changed, not necessarily what genre this is, but how this is going to go. Like, when you're reading a book that is, I won't say confusing, but it's very, very mysterious, and you're trying to figure out as you go, and you kind of have a thought path to go, and then something throws a wrench in there or makes you choose the wrong path. It makes you, it's almost like a roller coaster ride, because you're like, now you're not in control anymore. Now you're kind of left to the story. So
Tinian's really good, and it shows, I think, in this in particular, he's really good at subverting expectations. His story will be, it is going one way, and you're thinking, okay, like, that's great. This is going this way. And then he just throws one thing, and it's not a small thing, but it's not a huge thing either.
no, it's not.
And
Right.
it changes the entire story.
Right. It's not.
And everything that's happening is the most, and well, they don't even explain it. You don't know how big it is.
Yeah.
But if something like that happens, that's a huge impact for these characters that are already not handling this situation well.
Right. I think DC's got to be kicking themselves for for losing Tinian.
I can't believe that they wouldn't have fought harder. Substack must have offered him a really good deal, like 100% creative freedom.
Yeah.
I don't know how DC could possibly lose the Golden Goose.
Yeah, it's a big loss.
Okay, now that we're done gushing over Tinian, we'll go to the Unbelievable Unteens.
Can you imagine if Tinian did a Superman story?
I don't know if Tinian is. I mean, he could do it. He does everything so well. I don't know how. He's made a deal with the devil.
I'm just saying, imagine if Tinian did a Superman story, or imagine if Tinian did a Spider-Man story. Like, it'd be a great.
Yeah,
but I'm sorry.
seeing Tinian rework some Marvel stuff would be neat.
Yeah, go on next.
Anyway, The Unbelievable Unteens, number 2. This is one we did the first issue last month, and you and I were both surprised by how good it was.
Yeah.
We had both figured it was kind of a lot like Umbrella Academy, and I think this issue did a lot to separate it from that.
I never thought that once when I read the second issue, now that you say that. I remember thinking the first one, but the second one I never thought that once. So yeah, it's different now.
I think it's differentiated itself enough, and to do that, being not so similar, but pretty similar in the first issue to being completely different now in the second issue is a really good sign. There's really good writers, and the artwork in this book too. I love this artwork.
Yeah.
Even the covers too.
Yeah.
I've loved the covers, and it's a nice different book. I can't read the actual Umbrella Academy comics. I've tried, and I don't know what it is. I just can't get pulled into it. Kind of like Hellboy. I really enjoy Hellboy even in his animated films and stuff, but the books themselves I find hard to read.
Oh yeah.
But this is a good mix of kind of those two things. Sort of the weird and the dysfunctional, and it works well.
Yeah.
They've done a good job.
It is great artwork. You got Tyler Crook doing the artwork, and yeah, I was really surprised. And I would read this story just for the artwork, but the writing is Jeff Lemire, and we got a couple books by him on the list this week, and he's one of my favorite artists too, right up there with Tinian, and right up there with Cullen Bunn. We so many of his, but Lemire is great because he's actually created and this is spun into it. He's created that whole dark or Black Hammer universe, I should say, which has signed on and options and stuff. So they will be expanding on that stuff too into TV properties and movies and whatnot. But it was, I enjoyed this second one. The story continues now as the adult members of the Unteens are slowly trying to figure out like why their memories have been wiped, and who wiped them, and what's going on now, and why they're all being kind of led back together. And you see some of them are sick and dying or have whatever. And it's neat to see too that uh, some of the artwork is still comic book style in the sense that that's how they remember the stuff. You know, we in the first issue, that's how we find out that the
You literally see a comic book artwork exploding out of this guy's head as he
yeah
remembers.
those
Like almost like a thought bubble would be normally.
yeah those are his memories being unleashed. And yeah, I want to see how this, you know, who actually has the power to do this and why the one girl is sick. And it's a pretty cool book. So yeah, I think this book, after the much like all the Black Hammer characters, after they have their mini series or one shots and that, they're you know, characters in that universe, so they'll show up somewhere down the road as, you know, other stories or more stories of their own. So it's good to see them expanding, especially when they're good stories and not just like, oh, here's another, you know, stupid character. So
hmm And we have quite a few books here, even from Dark Horse this week. So
there was
they're doing a good job.
yeah, there was a lot.
Next up is like Dark Horse as well. Last Flight Out.
Yeah. This one I enjoyed as well too. You got Mark Guggenheim writing, and who is in. They have writing and as co-creator, and then you got Eduardo.
Anything Guggenheim's in, he wants co-creator put on. That's not a surprise.
Okay, and then Eduardo Figueroa as the artist and co-creator as well. And I guess when you know, I guess they thought up the idea and then, you know, wrote and did it together, and they both want to make sure you get the same credit and not just writer and artist team up. But I'm not sure why they want that worded that way, but that's how they want it worded. Yeah, so you got a man who spends his whole life, you know, neglecting his family. His wife dies, and his little girl gets taken care of, like nannies and stuff like that, because he's like this architect engineer guy who's trying to design ways to evacuate the Earth and its population, because much like now, it's not going to survive too much longer. It's going to fall apart in 5 or 6 years, and there are people who don't believe.
Hot take.
Well, no, they say that. That's what it says in the comic, and they say that, you know, some much like nowadays, people that don't believe in certain things, so they're going to stay behind. But this guy has created 3 arcs, and he dedicated his whole life to do it, and, you know, in doing so, neglected his daughter. So when the last ship is about to go, he realizes that she's not going to be on the ship, and she's one of those people who are going to stay behind. Well, he doesn't want to do that, even though he, you know, didn't spend time with her his whole life. He's going to venture out with this one troop of, I guess, like Army, Navy SEALs type of thing, to try and retrieve her from. It's Chicago, I believe, but it's like a hellhole because, like I said, the world has been deteriorating in that. So they crash land there, and now they're trying to find her, and that's the end of the first issue. But there's a good chance that this third ship could leave, you know, without him, and there's no other ships because that's the end of the certain window that they have to do this. And yeah, the Earth is going to end in they would say roughly 5 or 6 years. So it's kind of neat the way it kind of interacts with stuff today, and a little bit of Interstellar, the movie theme going on there, but the end of the world and trying to find a way off in that. But yeah, interesting book. I quite enjoyed it.
I was impressed with the size of this book. It's a little bit larger than some of the other ones on the list too.
Yeah, it's a
I think it was
good size.
not double size, but I think it was 40, 45 pages. A
Uh,
little bit bigger, 10 pages more at least.
Great paper too. Like great paper. Like everything this week had great paper and great, like, the art looked.
It sounds like such a weird thing to call out, but I say it every time we do a Boom book. I love the paper they use at Boom. It's like even their interior feels like cardstock paper.
Yeah.
And Melody too. Every time she picks up and reads one of those, like the Wind series, she's like, "Wow, this feels so much better." Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Scout Black Caravan covers. They have that thicker
Yeah.
cardstock matte cover. It's just a great cover. So yeah, even when you're talking about, like, that's one thing that you miss, I find, when you're reading things digitally, much like don't have album covers when you're listening to stuff digitally, you're missing out a little bit. Half of it is having the feel of the book in the hand. And I also like, I was reading some floppies today, and when you read digital, you don't see the ads and stuff like that. So I saw a couple ads in some of the Marvel stuff today about the new Spider-Man stuff that's going to be happening in that. So I was like, well, if I was reading this digitally, I wouldn't have seen that. So that's one of the nice things about reading, you know, floppies. And I hate saying that word, floppy. That's so dumb to say in a comic, but what else? I don't know. They need another word for it. That could be my rant for the night.
Physical? Physical copy.
I don't want. I don't want to.
I've never heard anyone say floppies.
But yeah, that could be my Nats random rant of the night. No, we got to find a better word for physical comics. So.
Oh God. Um, Next up is I think our last Dark Horse book. So we had three this week. I think that we don't usually cover a whole lot of Dark Horse, and we have three this week, and that's May's book. This one, I think it was a bit longer too.
It was.
Yeah.
They were all this week.
The art in this one is super funky. Usually on the cover when we show something, it's a little bit different. But if you look at the cover, that's pretty much the interior artwork. It's very pastel, very thin lines.
And the reason for that is, and that's a good eye, so I'm glad I've trained you well, is that is Jeff Lemire writing that book and illustrating that book and doing the cover. So not only is he a great writer, he does some, when he does work, his
Triple
own
threat.
illustrations as well. It's really great. And yeah, the artwork on here too, nice colors. You got multiple forms of artwork. You got some kind of just sponge paintings, then you got hard lines and soft lines. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. Continue on.
No, you took the words out of my mouth. Keep going.
Yeah, so again, like I said, from Dark Horse, you got Jeff Lemire doing the writing and the illustrations. And what it is you got William Warham, and he just exists in his life. You know, every day he just functions, you know, through routine, and that's kind of where the maze theme shows up in here. And the maze theme shows up in here in multiple different ways. So there's that, and then you find out that, you know, he's so sad and melancholy and depressed and stuff because he lost his daughter quite a few years ago, and she was 11 years old, and he's so sad and depressed now that he can't even remember her face. He just remembers she always wore like this red, ugly sweater that was falling apart. And throughout the book, you see like this red line that would be something like drawing through the a maze, and that's, you know, supposed to represent her sweater type of thing. And it turns out that the maze is, you know, not just, you know, in his mind and not just in his life, but he starts getting phone calls in the middle of the night, and it's her. And she's saying that, "Daddy, I'm lost in a maze. Come find me," and stuff like that. So again, it gets this weird, creepy, you know, supernatural feel, and then it kind of ends there. But then you kind of give a little bit of a read on that that he has to, you know, start looking through her journals, and finds out that she was always obsessed with, you know, doing mazes when she was a kid and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to see where it goes from there. It's like a labyrinth type of thing, but very, very creepy in that. And I just saw here that C. Bartley was saying that Jeff Lemire was Canadian, and I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool. So.
This book kind of reminded me a bit of Parasomnia, where
Yes,
I think it's a lot of reading between the lines for stuff.
Yes, it's two blended together, and it happens to be the same subject. They're both guys looking for their lost daughter.
It's I don't even know if it's going to be a supernatural thing or if it's more of like a internal maze while this guy sorts through his shit.
It's going to be both.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. I wasn't expecting too much from this book because I don't know why, to be honest. I gotta start giving these indies more credit when I look at them.
I think what you'll start realizing now, like you did today with the art there, is that I think you're going to have to, like, when you start looking for a title on that, you're going to have to start watching a little bit more for the writers. And because then I knew this book, I like it because,
especially with everyone shuffling around so much.
I think that's how you're going to start noticing, oh, I think I might like that because of that. Because like I said, you know, Lemire, Tinian,
Colin Bunn.
Yeah, Colin Bunn. There's so many different kind of stories. So, all right. Well, you said that was the last one of book. Wait, no, I think we have one more, right? Oh no, that was just.
No, we have a few more. That was the last Dark Horse. Yeah.
We have that.
Next up, we got another favorite of ours. We usually cover quite a few of these guys. It's Vault.
Yeah.
With Dead Box #1.
Yes.
I was shocked at how much I like this one. This is, I think, my favorite book of the week. And it's an anthology series to a degree. It does carry over.
Yeah.
but I think every issue is going to focus on, okay, context. So if you look at the cover, they have this thing, they call it the Dead Box. They're in a small town, they don't have a theater or anything. So I don't know if anyone remembers those red boxes from, I don't know, 10 years ago. You go up to it, you could rent a
That's how
movie.
Netflix.
Yeah, same idea how Netflix started. Yeah. So it's basically that, and this is what this town has. And this daughter and her father run a little convenience store in this town. And that's where that box is located. And they don't really know where it came from. They got it just so they could have movies in the town, something to do, and it seems that there might be some kind of curse attached to it. I mean, go figure, you get something called Dead Box and you get cursed. I probably could have figured that one out myself. Um, but that's the context behind what the Dead Box is.
Yeah, it's great. You got Mark Russell writing, and you got Benjamin Tisma doing the art. And yeah, there's sharp line work in here, and super clean color work. So I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of pops out. But yeah, you pretty much nailed it. This girl, she's lives in this small, crappy little town, and her dad runs like the stop and gas type of thing, so a convenience store, gas stop thing, and this place is super run down. You get the feel that it's down south, and everyone's just like a redneck. And this girl, she should have left a few days earlier to go to college, and she's had to stay behind because her dad's got some weird dying disease where he's just kind of withering away, and they don't know why and stuff. So, yeah, this town, when it comes to entertainment, has nothing really besides a little bit of drinking and cowboying type of thing, and this Dead Box. And so when people watch the movies from here, you can't even find these movies on the internet. They do research and stuff like that, and they just don't seem to exist. So when people watch these movies, and it's neat because they do the movies at the same time as doing the story and that. And the movie, you don't know if the movie is actually influenced by the person's life or if the movie is influencing the person's life, if you know what I'm saying. Like, you don't know which is actually influencing the other. So it's kind of neat that way and kind of trippy. And I do believe each issue is going to have its own focus on its own character and that. But yeah, it's a really good read. And much like I mentioned earlier about the Tinian books, I love stuff that's anthology like, and anything that's kind of like Rod Serling, like Twilight Zone, where it's just a bunch of weird stories, and some of them can make sense, and some of them might make you think a little bit more, and some don't necessarily have to have a happy ending, and yeah, that's just the way it goes. But yeah, I really liked it too. This when me and you started looking for books to maybe do covers for, or books that we want to maybe just looking at books when we were starting to do this business. That was one of our first books that we were looking at, and we were just too late to get on it. And I'm disappointed because that was a great book. But yeah, I'm glad to see that even back then we didn't get to it, but we would have chose a good one. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really impressed with this one. So good on Vault for that.
Good on us.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of tooting our own horn today.
We deserve it.
And next up is an Aftershock book. Aftershock. Oh, those guys, they're doing a really good book called Devil Chicken, aren't they?
Chicken Devil, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Search for Who, or Hugh?
Yeah. Hugh.
Yeah. And I quite enjoyed this one. I'm not really into the whole, and it sounds terrible, but the whole Japanese fighter vibe, and that's what I got from the cover of this one, and I almost didn't look at it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did. The art on the inside is fantastic. Really surprised
the
by
artist's name is Rubin, or Rubine, and that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of him or seen.
I've never heard of him before.
Yeah, that was great artwork. I want to see more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got
sorry, go ahead. The story too. I wasn't expecting such an in-depth story, but I mean, it's Aftershock. I don't know why I'm shocked. I was shocked after. I kind of had to. It was sitting there.
Every time we do an Aftershock book, you do that every time, and you never even realize you do that.
I don't even mean to.
That's what I just said. But yeah, you got John Suey and Steve Orlando doing the writing. And Steve Orlando is a pretty good writer. The John Suey I wasn't sure about, but I hadn't seen it. But yeah, you got a young guy, young Asian guy, Chinese, who comes back from the war, Gulf War, Middle Eastern War type thing in 2015, and he comes back to California and he lives with his parents again, and they're Chinese and they run a Chinese restaurant. And one day the restaurant hasn't been doing that good and everything, bad economy and whatnot. So one day they're locking up and the parents get gunned down in a drive-by. So while they're in the hospital, the son shows up to comfort his mom. His dad's still in surgery. They see that the mom confesses that this was her fault and it wasn't just a random thing, that she left China all those years ago because her family and other family are in like this gang blood feud going on now. It's spilled over here. And that's what the Hue part is. The Hue is the Yakuzuna, or whatever you want to call them, back in China. So they're searching out to wipe her out because they know she's left in that. So now this guy, the son, who is again has that military training, phones up another partner of his that he worked with who's already out that area. They meet up in Seoul, and now that he's going to head into China and trying to wipe this all out or deal with it so his family can end this blood feud. But yeah, it kind of elevated and escalated really fast when the soldier guy just kind of said, "Okay, I'm going to China now and wipe these all out." And mom's like, "Okay, I can't talk you out of it, but I guess that's what the book's about." So yeah, I was very surprised. I was looking forward to this book, but I'm glad it was such a nice ending. Not a nice ending per se, but it turned out how I thought it would be, and I wasn't disappointed.
I agree. I was pleasantly surprised by that one. This next one I didn't grab. While I was at the shop, I forgot to look for it, and then by the time I got home, I couldn't find it anywhere. But that's Bountiful Garden. So, I mean, just my impression, this cover is really cool. And that's all I got. So I'll toss it to you.
It's one of those books that is kind of hard to get because it's from Mad Cave, and much like the Aftershock and some of the other books that we cover, even the heavy metal books and stuff like that, they're hard to get because they're not mass ordered. But it is a good book. You got Ivy Noel Weir doing the writing, and you got Kelly Williams doing the art. And what Bountiful Garden is, the year is 3030, and there's a terraformer ship that's sailing, or not sailing, but going through space on its way to a planet to start terraforming with this crew to start like a colony for these Earthlings. And the crew wakes up, and it's they're 10 years. They're 10 years from their destination, and they're kind of stuck hovering over this planet. And the ship has starting to lose power and everything, stuff like that. So they got to figure out what's going on. And it's because the journeys take so long and stuff like that. The crew is they're all quite young, like maybe 18 or 19 at the oldest, and they're all specialists and stuff like that. Some are botanists, some are architects, and some are soldiers and whatnot. Everyone has their own duty to be the most successful in the new society. We're going to see why the ship's in distress and stuff like that. And like I said, this is going to be a 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 issue series. I can't remember now, but it has just kind of the setting up of the plot here, and everybody has their own distinctive individual characteristics and that. So it's going to be pretty cool. I mean, at first it seems like it's going to be kind of cliche with a lot of those movies lately where someone sends out the last remnants of a team of Earth to save the planet, see what happens. But I don't think, because it is an independent book and there is some really, really nice artwork in there. So see what happens from there.
I'm just trying to find quickly the cover artist.
Yeah, it looks like Eastman, but I don't believe it is.
No, it's Kelly Williams.
Yeah, that's the same guy that does the work inside too.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I also thought that was Eastman, so that's why I had to look it up, because I was surprised he was working on something smaller like that. No,
it's the same thing. The guy does a lot of, or I don't know if it's male or female named Kelly, but it is a lot of like I don't like saying painted, because I don't know if they actually paint nowadays. I think a lot of it's like digital, but that soft brushstroke look.
Okay. That's our last book for this week. It almost feels like we could always do more and more and more books, but we try to keep it to at least between 10. I think the most we did was 15 one time. But that was like some books that we just could not bear to pass.
Well, even today we skimmed out a few books and stuff like that. Like we bring in as many as we can, and then kind of skim down just for time and what seems more appropriate. But yeah, there's always things we miss, and that's why we always like to say to you guys that if you want, he's asking for one more. If
we've got What If to talk about still. We still got a few.
Yeah, if you guys want us to try check out a book, even if it's a book that's maybe a couple weeks old, and that let us know, because we'll check out something that's a couple weeks old, especially nowadays, because most books nowadays have more than one print. So if somebody can't get that first time around, they're more than likely able to get a second or third print, and yeah, that's what we want, just to introduce new stories to new people. So.
Our last thing we've got up, like I said, is What If. And I think this was the most anticipated one that anyone has been waiting for, and that's What If Zombies?
Yeah, I didn't even know it was zombies until I turned it on, so I was pretty shocked. An hour before the show starts, because I don't get to watch the What Ifs till after work on Wednesday, because I'm back to work, and I have other stuff to do in the morning beforehand. So yeah, I didn't even know that. So that was pretty cool to see that, but I'll let you start off, because I know you always like to do the one view, and I like to do the other view. So.
Yeah. Normally, I mean, I'll come out with it, and I wasn't a fan of this episode. I did enjoy it, and we'll get maybe more into it once I throw the spoiler tag up as to what I didn't like about it and why. But overall, it's good. I did enjoy it. I wish it had stayed a little bit to the darker tone that they were sort of showing off in the first little bit of it, rather than doing that classic Marvel movie, MCU type deal where, scary thing, but let me put this joke in there while I do this and make really light of something that probably should be a little bit darker.
Yeah, now that you say that, I never thought about that, but that's true, because there's even scenes like...
Well, with Doctor Strange last week, I thought they did a good job, and that's why I was so excited for this episode, because I thought this is going to be a great Marvel Zombies debut. And not that it wasn't, I just wish it was taking it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, there is definitely some cornball stuff in there, like Wasp is in there. She'd go inside a zombie small, and then she make herself all big or whatever, and then she like literally busts through the zombie, and she'd be like, oh, there's whatever friend it was, oh, there's, I think it was Carol or something, oh, there's Carol all over me or something like that. I'm just like, that you would have, if that was your best friend or one of your friends, that you wouldn't say that. Like, you would just be more shook up. It was kind of lighthearted.
And it had only been a little bit that whole virus is going on. Like, it wasn't like a Walking Dead had been going on for a long time.
They said at one point, a few weeks, and within one day, half the country was covered and stuff. But I won't go into any spoilers about it. But I enjoyed the different characters they had in it. I was surprised to see a Spider-Man in there, because I didn't think there was going to be Spider-Man much stuff in there because of Tony.
Great actor for Spider-Man too. It definitely, it wasn't Tom Holland. We all knew it wasn't going to be Tom Holland, but they did a good job of. Sometimes it really did sound like Tom Holland. I was going to say,
it sounded more like Tom Holland, and some of the real actors sound and doing the real parts, and we've said that a few episodes. And even I thought the same thing here too. Like
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd sounded good, and like
Paul Bettany, Vision.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot of voice work for the Marvel movies in particular, so it is no surprise. But whether he's in person or in makeup, I think he is Vision. He really rocks that character.
Yeah. And same with the even the guy that was that minor crook guy that from the Ant-Man movies, the Rush.
Was that the original
Yeah,
guy?
I don't know if it was or not, but I mean, even I was surprised that he sounded just like him in that because, like,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's guys that don't sound like it. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And that was Chadwick Boseman was in there again too, which I didn't.
Hmm. I did notice, and I don't know if it's because Chadwick was a lot sicker at that time, or if he's just a really good voice actor. And we'll get into that part, but he genuinely sounded not well. So he, I don't know. I don't want to go too in depth about that because I don't want to get into that
Yeah,
whole side of life. But I again, really good voice acting on his part.
yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I know it was him because I saw in the credits, but I'm not sure where that
Mhm.
would be in the time span. But yeah, he's great.
Cool. Are we gonna throw up the spoilers tag
Well, if you
now
want,
then?
I don't have anything really to add more spoiler to it, but if you got a little rant, go for
Oh
it.
yeah.
You, you
Yeah.
got 60 seconds to do a rant, and then we'll do our close up for everybody to see.
Yeah. Well, basically, I I don't mind that Spider-Man's kept as a bit more lighthearted character. He always is, regardless, and I think they used him well. However, I think he really took the gravity away in some situations, which is unfortunate because he had some of the best scenes in the whole episode. He had some really good scenes, and there were some really beautiful scenes throughout the episode as a whole. Um, when Wasp goes big and starts carrying them across this huge field of zombies, the sun is literally setting on her, like as she is turning into a zombie. So like, there's some really beautiful scenes, but then 2 seconds after they do something like that, they undercut it with a joke. So I was a little disappointed there, um, but overall it wasn't bad. I just wanted them to have the same gravity to it that Doctor Strange did the week before.
Yeah, could have been a
Um,
little dark. Yeah,
not too much spoiler. I just didn't want to get into too much of all that without throwing spoiler tag up there.
yeah, like I
Um,
said,
but it was good.
the only thing I'll add spoiler wise is I like the weird ensemble of characters. You got Doctor Strange's cloak. You got Spider Man.
Yeah,
You got Sharon Carter for a little bit. You got Bucky.
happy.
Happy for a little bit. Happy was pretty funny in there actually in that. And who else? Oh, and you got Paul.
I'm not surprised when I see John Favreau show up in anything Disney Plus
Oh,
anymore. He's basically running that whole show. He's got his hands in every pot
for
over there.
sure. And then you got Paul Rudd's head. So I mean,
Yeah,
so yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah.
And then like you said, Vision. So there was a lot of good people in there.
I do hope they return to this because I think this story, even if it is an anthology series, I think this one, if any, deserved a second episode because the way they've left it on, um, I just felt kind of uncompleted.
Well,
I do like the idea of a zombie Thanos though, because he's kind of the opposite. You know, snap half the universe out of existence. But if he snaps now, is he gonna snap like a bunch of new living people in so he can eat them?
maybe
So maybe he's kind of the good guy here.
the one
That's two good Thanos we've had in this
The
series
one
now.
thing I will say though that with the Marvel Zombies is that I know they have plans for that already because there's one show and I follow for a long time that has like scoops way far in advance and they're always super accurate. And they have said that the Marvel Zombies will show up in the MCU stuff, Disney Plus stuff later on, and they will end up being the main nemesis for the Midnight Suns. So that will be like the group of superheroes of all the supernatural. So like Ghost Rider and Moon Knight and Blade.
Justice League Dark type thing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's to say they'll end up being the ones going after the Marvel zombies. So all right. So that was the end of the spoilers. Let's do our wrap up because we're already at an hour.
I know we chatted way too much this
We had a
time.
lot of important stuff to go over.
All right, I will throw. Well, not that chicken devil. I want our chicken devil. We don't care about the regular
You can throw
one.
up swamp. You can
There we
throw
go.
up swamp dogs too if you don't mind.
I don't know if I have Swamp Dogs
Oh,
queued
okay.
up. Nope.
All right. Well, like I said, everybody, we got the Swamp Dogs book and the Chicken Devil book, and we're super happy to have the Chicken Devil book released now. We've been teasing you all for a couple of weeks. So I don't know because I haven't seen anything on the claims or anything like that. But like I said, if there are 10 books playing between now and Friday at 10 o'clock next week, I will dance as a chicken. And if there was 10 claims during the show tonight, I'll even stretch it till not even just tonight. I'll say till midnight, so you got an extra 3 more hours. If there are 10 books claimed tonight, I will dance a chicken dance as well when I'm in my chicken suit. But either way, support us, please. Please, and like and share and subscribe.
Alrighty, there we go. Yeah, I mean, we went a little over an hour. I think we're going to have to start booking our own time slot with Facebook soon.
Yes.
Alrighty, we will see you all next week.